Donald Trump has spent his entire career in politics talking about mass deportations, fear-mongering against immigrants. And it's not just because Donald Trump is a vile racist. No, it's because he wants to appear tough and strong and in control and commanding. Donald Trump wants to lie to you and say he's putting America first when the America he's putting first is the corporate elite in America, not working class people. But of course, Donald Trump wants to project strength with his lie about mass deportations. But that's difficult to do when Donald Trump, thankfully, cannot do his mass deportations. And all of that is coming out in a devastating report for Trump that we are going to get into. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video. And if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, before we get into this devastating report from Donald Trump, I want to check out two clips that I think really set the stage for all this right here.
But we could make deals where we'd get these animals out of our country. And you know, if you take the shooters, the people that hit old ladies in the back of the head with a baseball bat when they're not looking, that walk down the street, the people that you see it, the people that take out a gun and shoot you for no reason at all. If we could get these animals out of our country and put them in a different country under the supervision of somebody that made a relatively small fee to maintain these people, because you know what? These are criminals. You call them hardened criminals. They've been in jail 40 times. There's one 42 times. And every time the person gets out, it's a he. Every time he gets out, he commits another crime within 24 hours. And it's a heinous crime. It's a rough crime. We don't want these people in our country either. We don't want them in our country. We're signing an executive order to instruct the Departments of Defense and Homeland Security to begin preparing the 30,000-person migrant facility at Guantanamo Bay. Most people don't even know about it. We have 30,000 beds in Guantanamo to detain the worst criminal illegal aliens threatening the American people. Some of them are so bad we don't even trust the countries to hold them because we don't want them coming back, so we're going to send them out to Guantanamo. This will double our capacity immediately, right? And that's a tough place to get out of. Today's signings bring us one step closer to eradicating the scourge of migrant crime in our communities once and for all. And it was just...
So part of Donald Trump's plan is to deport American citizens. You heard him right. Deport American citizens. He wants us spending money on that. Oh my God. The Doge people cracking down on trimming the fat by eliminating whole agencies that actually benefit people and protect American soft power abroad. That's great. But we want to blow a bunch of money on flying people all over the world, American citizens, to deport. I don't even know. It gets hard to comprehend sometimes. And then the second clip, Guantanamo Bay. It took 2 weeks, for camps to start under Donald Trump. Again, an attempt to project strength from him. And an attempt, I think, to just intimidate people. I think that is what this is all about. Fear and intimidation from Donald Trump. He has to pretend to look strong because he knows he is not. And especially in this presidency, he is a lame duck. He can't run again. Let's pray he doesn't try to. He can't get anything through Congress because Republicans are all divided and dumb as hell. They don't know how government works. They can't do anything. Do you think Marjorie Taylor Greene knows how to legislate? No, we saw it for 2 years. We tried to get you people to vote against it. You watching, you know what you're talking about. That's why you're hanging out with us. No, he has to project the strength because he's insecure and his plans don't work. And nowhere is that better exemplified than in this report right here. Trump's migrant crackdown has more bark than bite, expert says. A PR blitz appears to be propping up the first weeks of Donald Trump's migration crackdown, which has so far produced arrest numbers similar to that they were in stretches under Barack Obama. Few would guess that by flipping on the news or scrolling social media, however. Trump's team has flooded the zone with much hyped arrest figures posted on Twitter and turned ICE raids into a spectacle, complete with celebrity embeds like Dr. Phil and ICE Barbie Nancy Mace tagging along. Racy noted things are not entirely the same under Trump. She has noticed a higher presence of ICE agents at colleges in Florida, where she's an immigration law professor at Florida State University. She has also heard a rumor that local ICE officers are being mandated to make 75 arrests a day. While there is an intense urgency from the White House, it is yet to translate into a spike in arrests or removals, at least not that Reese has witnessed. The number of calls I'm getting is more or less the same as they were this time last year, she said. So for all of y'all so worried about Joe Biden's failures at the southern border that saw a lot more success than many months, many stretches during the Trump administration, at the end of the Biden administration, are you happy with these numbers? Are you happy with any numbers Donald Trump has produced? I see all these tweets from these Republican influencers saying, I'm so happy with what Donald Trump has accomplished. It's been such a great presidency. I think Elon, some other goober, some other goofball, some other loser tweeted, I think Trump has accomplished more in a week than any president has in 4 years. Oh, I hate these people. What are the numbers that you're pointing to? Eggs up about 1,000%? The immigration crackdowns that you promised that, thank God, aren't happening, not coming to fruition? What's the big win from Donald Trump? Gulf of America? The culture war nonsense? Okay. I guess, as we knew all along, they never really cared about anything substantive. What a shock. MAGA doesn't have any actual plans. Woo. And the ones that they do have are more inhumane than we could have expected. And Jasmine Crockett was not only calling that out, but talking about how we're going to fight back against that on MSNBC.
From churches to schools to city councils to parking lots, people are pushing back against this administration's attempts to harass and arrest immigrants in their communities. Today, Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett was part of a group of lawmakers that introduced legislation to protect immigrants in sensitive locations. Congresswoman Crockett says in her district, kids are already missing school because parents are afraid of being arrested as they drop their kids off at school. She says families are also skipping doctor's appointments and even emergency care that they need because they're afraid of being arrested at the hospital. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett joins us live now. Congresswoman, it's really nice to have you here on the show. Thank you for making time.
Absolutely.
What should people understand about the rationale for protecting places like schools, churches, synagogues, hospitals from immigration enforcement actions in the past?
Yeah, I mean, here, this is very simple. First of all, I don't know my country anymore, right? When we are looking at situations that are so disruptive to our communities, and again, as you talked about the hero who wasn't necessarily wearing a cape, but instead had her coffee cup, when we think about the disruption to everyone because of something that really is a civil penalty, I want to get this across to your viewers, because I don't think that people understand that as Republicans oftentimes say things like, oh, they're illegal, they're illegal. According to federal law, you literally can get a traffic ticket that is more serious than what this is. It's a civil penalty. And so to have these guys disrupting you as you are trying to pray, whether you're an immigrant or not, you're disrupting a place of worship. Or tell me about what type of liability, I mean, even if you don't care about the people themselves, but tell me about the type of liability that we may face if somebody literally is trying to seek care and then you take them away from that care and into our custody, right? Like, it doesn't make sense, not to mention the disruption that it causes for everybody else that's seeking care. And now we're talking about the kids. We're talking about parents not taking their kids to get the education that they need, and the kids may be enjoying something that we call birthright citizenship. Yet they're missing out on school because their parents are too afraid to drop them off. And the final point that I'll say is I want people to understand that undocumented folk in this country contribute approximately $100 billion in taxes, and they pay into Social Security that they can't pull down on. So you tell me how any of this makes sense, because the estimation is that it would cost us approximately $200 billion in the first year to try to effectuate this. And we know the Republicans are proposing that ICE be given approximately $350 billion. And right now that's causing a lot of consternation within the Republican caucus. And that is why we are headed to a shutdown on March 14th, because instead of cutting money, it looks like they are absolutely going to need more money.
Let me ask you also about the impact, as a representative from Texas, who's been right in the middle of the culture war over this, but also who represents a very diverse district. It strikes me also that with some of these changes, not just saying we're going to go after people wholesale and not just making it into a big propaganda spectacle and inviting celebrities and, hand-picked media to go along to make it look like an episode of Cops. But in addition to that, by going after, saying we want to go after people in schools and in places of worship and in healthcare facilities, the cruelty there and the impact there is to really isolate immigrant families or families that have mixed status so that they can't participate in the fabric of culture the way they do right now and in the basic fabric of services that we all avail ourselves of, so that they are more isolated, so they are more afraid, so they don't feel supported by their fellow Americans and the other people who live among them. I wonder if you think that is the aim, and if so, if there are other things that Americans who are not in immigrant families, people who do not face these same kind of threats, if what they can do to kind of bridge that distance.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's that, but I think it's even deeper than that. What we've seen out of this administration is nothing but chaos and confusion. That is how they, quote unquote, lead, right? And so here's the deal. Whether it's legal or whether it's not legal, it has the same effect, right? So he decides, you know what, I'm going to make a big spectacle out of getting rid of this executive order. And then next thing you know, we're having to file legislation to try to protect. But who's keeping up with all of this drama that's happening? At the end of the day, it's whatever news headline they saw last or first, or whichever one they feel most comfortable with. And so right now what we have is that they have been able to inflict fear. This is why you brought up Texas, and this is going to impact Texas a ton, as well as the rest of the country. But even when we start to think about the farms that we have in Texas, or we think about the fact that he even tried to do his little tariff war with Mexico. Mexico and Texas, we share a very special relationship for a lot of different reasons. But one is because they are our biggest trade partner as well. So now we've got all of these farmers that are saying, hey, my farm workers are not showing up. It's not just the schools, the hospitals, and the religious institutions. It's actually everywhere.
Continue to bring the fight. Continue to bring the fight. That is what we have to do. And it's what we're going to be talking about on this show. You know that every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. Speaking of Jasmine Crockett, we might be having her on again soon. I'm going to tease it. I'm not confirming anything. You might want to hit that notification bell to be the first to see. She's the best. Maybe she'll be back soon. You'll see. And until next time, I'll see you soon.